All right, first off, big shouts out to Screen Rant once again, and to Matt Morrison for writing this article. And wow, the Green Arrow and Superman, they die on Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now that actually makes a lot of sense because we did see in Elseworlds when it was the very beginning. We saw it 3 times to be exact. Because they kept replaying, the '90s Flash, Barry Allen going back from Earth '90, going into the future, and we saw the Green Arrow from just laying on the ground dead, and Superman dead, I believe, as well. But anyway, now with the Arrowverse poised to adapt the classic comic book miniseries Crisis on Infinite Earths in 2019 in the fall of my birthday, yes, I believe it is. It seems likely that sorry about that both Green Arrow and Superman will be making the ultimate heroic sacrifice as part of the annual crossover event. Now, while the hints had been dropped before about the famous storyline someday being brought to life in live action, fans were stunned that the timetable had apparently been bumped up following the recent Elseworlds event, which hinted at some big changes to come in the Arrowverse. They also hinted at the probable deaths of the Man of Steel and the Emerald Archer. T. For those that don't, I want to make a little acronym out of it. Perhaps the most ambitious and involved fictional universe ever produced for television, the Arrowverse is a shared reality formed from many of the superhero shows airing on the CW network. These include Arrow, The Flash, and Supergirl, respectively. Since 2014, it has been an annual event each fall for the Arrowverse shows to cross over as part of a big shared storyline. The 2018 crossover event, Elseworlds, ended with a title card proclaiming that the next event would be called Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that it would air in fall 2019, hopefully on my birthday. The Elseworlds crossover this year helped lay the groundwork for Crisis on Infinite Earths, in addition to some already established setup. Now, of course, A Crisis on Infinite Earths is famous in the comics for a number of things, including some significant character deaths. Now, while it was Flash and Supergirl in the comics, there's reason to believe Oliver Queen and Clark Kent will be among the fallen once the battle to save all reality is concluded on television. Now, what does that mean for the future of the Arrowverse? Well, let's get a little quick explanation of the Elseworlds. Elseworlds opened with Oliver Queen and Barry Allen waking up one morning to find they had seemingly swapped lives, kind of like a Freaky Friday thing, minus the fortune cookie. Now, though they still had their own faces and memories, they possessed one another's skills and powers in everyone, even their own wives. Saw Oliver as Barry and vice versa. Theorizing that since nobody on Earth seemed to realize something was wrong except them, Barry and Oliver traveled to another Earth in search of confirmation that they weren't going crazy. Now, this led them to Earth 38, the setting of Supergirl, and home of Kara Danvers, Supergirl herself. Now, once Kara confirmed that she could see Barry and Oliver for who they really were, the trio returned to Earth 1 in search of answers. The trio led them to Gotham City and a psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum named John Deegan, and where they also met Batgirl, who had been given the Book of Destiny, a cosmic artifact capable of rewriting reality. Man, I wish we had one of those here, but then again, in the wrong hands, that would be horrific. Their attempt to confront Deegan resulted in him facilitating a jailbreak to cover his escape and led to an encounter with Batwoman, the new protector of Gotham City, following Batman's appearance years earlier. This spurred Deegan to use the Book of Destiny to rewrite reality again, making himself into the Superman of Earth 1. He also transformed every superhero on Earth 1 into a villain and imprisoned Supergirl, who the book would not alter directly as she was not part of its universe. Now, Barry and Oliver, now a duo of non-powered bank robbers called the Trigger Twins, retained their memories thanks to the intervention of the Monitor, the cosmic being who gave Deegan the Book of Destiny. The Monitor revealed that he had empowered Deegan as part of a test of Earth 1's heroes, as he had tested the Guardians of other Earths in search of beings who could stand up against a greater evil that threatened to destroy all of reality in the near future. Which doesn't really seem, that far-fetched or that far away, given, just the anticipation of the next crossover and just how things have been going lately. Armed with this knowledge, Barry and Oliver were able to return to Earth-38 and recruit the Superman of Kara's world to fight Negan in earnest. Now, the heroes were able to recover the Book of Destiny long enough to restore themselves to normal before Negan stole it back. Superman, who had been the one to use the book, revealed he had foreseen the deaths of the Flash and Supergirl, and they matched the they matched the circumstances described in the plan the Flash came up with to stop Negan. Undeterred, the Flash and Supergirl went off to face their apparent deaths as Green Arrow confronted the Monitor and read him the riot act regarding the immorality of his actions. Basically, and if you haven't seen my review of the final part of the Elseworlds crossover, I'll put a link of that video in the description box below. And because you'll hear in the very beginning of that video, I gave Oliver a lot of praise for stepping up to the Monitor like he did. It was pretty damn dope. As far as killing good people as part of some engineered test. The Monitor was apparently pleased, as his tests were meant to gauge the heroes' morality, not their competence. He said that the destinies of the Flash and Supergirl might be rewritten, but said some kind of price would have to be paid to maintain the balance. So with that being said, Green Arrow apparently agreed to pay the price, as the Flash's plan worked and he and Supergirl both survived the final battle with Negan. Elseworlds concluded with reality restored. A shriveled and comatose Negan reincarnated in Arkham Asylum and a man in a gold mask, declaring that, and I quote, "Worlds will live, worlds will die, and nothing will ever be the same again." Just before the title card appeared, which said the Crisis on Infinite Earths would come in for 2019. Sorry about that, guys. Now, what is Crisis on Infinite Earths exactly? I'm glad they asked. Now, Crisis on Infinite Earths was a 12-issue miniseries released by DC Comics in 1985 to coincide with their 50th anniversary, giving all the characters they had created in that time a grand send-off. And this actually wasn't a bad idea. I mean, they pretty much gave everybody a good-ass send-off. I mean, think about it, 12 issues? Bruh. Anyway, this proved necessary because the reality of DC Comics had become a hodgepodge of multiple universes over the years, as DC Comics bought up other properties and turned every newly acquired comic book line into an alternate Earth. This made things difficult for new readers in the internet days, as there was no way to easily look up why Superman's cousin in some stories was a teenage girl called Supergirl, and in others she was a young woman called Power Girl, or why Shazam never teamed up with the Justice League. This confusion led writer Marv Wolfman, best known today as the co-creator of the most popular incarnation of the Teen Titans, to propose a way to combine all the DC Comics realities into a single shared universe. Wolfman created the Monitor, a cosmic being who was seen aiding the villains of various realities. It was ultimately revealed that the Monitor was a cosmic manifestation of all the material universes, and that his opposite number, the Anti-Monitor, had begun destroying other realities so that only his antimatter universe would exist, testing the heroes of the various positive matter universes through their villains. The Monitor began building an army that would be capable of facing the Anti-Monitor. Testing the heroes of the various positive matter universes through their villains. So the Monitor began building an army that would be capable of facing the Anti-Monitor. Thus began the greatest battle in cosmic history, as the heroes and villains of multiple Earths joined forces to save all that existed. So how the Flash and Supergirl died in a comic crisis. Wow, man. Now, while many characters died during Crisis on Infinite Earths, the deaths of Barry Allen, the Flash of Earth 1, and Kara Zor-El, Supergirl on Earth 1, 38 in this case, were easily the most notable. Supergirl died in Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue number 7, after being beaten to death in a one-on-one battle with the Anti-Monitor himself. Kara's sacrifice saved the life of her cousin, Superman, and destroyed the machinery the Anti-Monitor was using to forcibly merge several Earths, inflicting cataclysmic damage upon them all. And Barry Allen would meet his final fate one issue later in Crisis on Infinite Earths, issue number 8. Imprisoned in the antimatter universe, the Flash found a way to break free and discovered that the Anti-Monitor had begun constructing a great antimatter cannon that would be capable of destroying multiple positive matter universes with a single shot. Running faster than he had ever ran before, the Flash was able to destroy the cannon by generating a vibrational frequency that weakened its unstable core, turning the energy contained within the Doomsday device upon itself. Barry Allen seemingly died then, his physical form disintegrating and leaving behind only his costume. Very, 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 very memorable stuff right there, guys. It still gives me chills just reading it, honestly. So the question we all want to know is, why does the Green Arrow and Superman, why do they have to die in the TV crisis? Well, that's a good question. The Flash TV series has hinted at Barry's eventual heroic sacrifice since its first episode, with a newspaper from 2024 proclaiming that the Flash disappeared after some manner of crisis. Now, this was reaffirmed in the most recent season with a newspaper from 2049 and the Flash's daughter from the future confirming that the Flash never returned home. However, recent events on the Flash have shown that the timeline is malleable, and the proclamation that the crisis on Infinite Earths is coming 5 years ahead of when it was anticipated indicates that something big has changed on a cosmic level. So all this puts the CW in a bit of a quandary. The Flash is easily the network's most popular show, and Supergirl is similarly popular with their core demographic, if not quite as highly rated. Right? It makes little sense from the network's perspective to sacrifice two of their most popular series purely for the sake of emulating a classic comic book storyline. The show's writers would probably also prefer not to precisely retell a story, so which everyone already knows the ending. Elseworlds suggested an out, however, with the idea that Barry and Kara had been fated to die in an earlier battle once reality had been rewritten by John Deegan. We know that Oliver Queen has paid some kind of price to save his friends, thinking they will be needed to save the Earth in the coming crisis, though the exact cost has yet to be revealed. It is worth noting, however, that nothing has been said about Oliver Queen being alive in the future of Star City 2038, and that makes a lot of sense because if you keep looking at the flash forwards, all we really got in terms of death is Felicity, aka the Calculator, because she turned evil, you know, and apparently she did some good before she left, someone she was working with, I guess, off her, or so it seems. You know how we know. I mean, we all know how Felicity is. We know how Oliver is. I mean, because all we know now recently is that Renee Ramirez is no longer in Star City. Not even. I don't think he's even in the Glades, honestly. So I really wonder. So when Arrow picks up, in the new year, I'm really curious to see what does Renee look like now that he's no longer being a vigilante, and what's happened to him. Why is him and his daughter? Why is him and his daughter Zoe at such an odds and end with each other? Is it because she wants to be a vigilante, and he knows the prices that they all have to pay for that, or is it something completely else? I mean, that's what I really look forward to. I mean, now that we've gotten on the subject of Oliver Queen in the future of Star City in 2038, during Arrow's season 7, Flash Forwards, it's also worth noting that Green Arrow has sacrificed himself to save others in several comic book storylines, including Grant Morrison's Final Crisis and his original death in the Green Arrow storyline, where angels fear to tread. So, with that being said, clearly Oliver Queen is being set up for some manner of heroic sacrifice. But what of Superman? Elseworlds concluded with Superman effectively retiring, so he could focus on being a father to the baby that he and Lois Lane were having together. Despite him feeling that Kara is more than capable of replacing him as Earth 38's chief protector, it seems highly unlikely that Clark would sit on the sidelines with all of reality at stake during Crisis on Infinite Earths. It seems likely then that he and Kara will trade roles with their comic book counterparts, and that Clark will sacrifice himself to save Kara from the Anti-Monitor. So, with that being said, the future of the Arrowverse post-Crisis. This is another big question. I feel like, just reading this sounds like, it's all come to an end right here. Assuming that this all plays out as predicted, there will be some major changes to the Arrowverse. Presumably, the Arrowverse would emulate DC Comics immediately after Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the wounded alternate realities would merge into a single solid universe. This would leave Supergirl set on the same Earth as the other Arrowverse shows, and make future team-ups a good deal easier to facilitate. So while it is possible that other versions of Oliver Queen and Clark Kent might be reborn into this new universe as in the comics, it seems unlikely that the showrunners would cheapen their sacrifice in this manner. Arrow might continue, for instance, with a cameo Queen taking up her half-brother's bow and identity. On the other hand, there have been rumors that the CW might be interested in reviving Lois and Clark with Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch after seeing their interactions as Clark Kent and Lois Lane in the Elseworlds. Whatever happens in 2019 is bound to bring big things to the Arrowverse, and that's without a doubt, for real. This has been your boy Share Season. I love you guys. If you guys have any suggestions, make sure you guys hit me up with those in the comments below. You're always welcome. They always will be. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more content. Thank you, man. This has always been this is always like a lot of fun for me to do. Regardless, once again, shout out to Screen Rant and shout out to Matt Morrison for this incredible article. Always, this has been your boy Share Speaks. Peace and love.